Welcome to Survival Theory. No lighter, no ferro rod, but need to start a fire? No problem. Just make a bow drill. Let's get started. Today, I'm in an area known as a transitional environment. I'm not in the piney woods, I'm not in the plains, I'm not in the hill country, I'm not in the swamp area. It's mostly fields. It's got a lot of species of trees, but predominantly oak. And most of those oaks are going to be along fence lines or along creek lines. And you don't want to try to baton this oak. It is old, dense, just forget about it. So if I'm lucky, I'll be able to find some cedar or some juniper. If there's no pine out here, might be able to find some other species of tree. The problem is not finding the tree. It's finding dry, dead material, because there's just not that much material to begin with. So first I'll go try to find some material, and then we'll get started on the bow drill. Now it took almost half an hour to find this juniper branch that's dead, but it was worth it. I can use this bark as tinder in a bird's nest, and what's left over I can use as fuel for my fire once I get it going. And of course the opon is everywhere. Ouch. So this is the best thing to use for your stick, for your drill. You can get a fairly straight piece, get it smoothed out. Let's get busy. All right, so we'll cut this down. Whew. All right. Try to split it about right there. Not splitting very well. Not as straight as I hoped. I can clean that up. Get a little bit flatter. Alright, so there's my beginning of the board. I need to save all this material so I can make a bird's nest, get fuel, tinder. Alright, so that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to put my hole about 3/4 away from the edge to the center of the hole. Just going to stick the knife in there. Alright, so I've got the startings of that. Now I need to get my stick. Opon is hard. I'll cut this about arm's length. I'll cut it around here somewhere. I've had to make do with 4-inch spindles before, so length is not that big of a deal. Alright, now we need to clean this up, get it very smooth to reduce the friction of our string. Just get your knife on that spine, and now I'm actually going to cut it right here because it's got a little bit of a bend in it. I want this as straight as possible. So I've just reduced its length considerably, but that's a pretty good size. Alright, now ideally I want to match the shape of this stick to the type of hole I have there. It's somewhat conical, so I am going to put a little bit of a point on my stick. I'm going to use the largest end to go into the fireboard. Okay, now we've got our drill, we've got our board. Let's go find a bow. Now, finding the bow is the easy part. I like to find a stick just like this. I put a notch in there to hold my string at one end, and it's forked at this end for the bow. Now I need some way to hold the spindle, so I'm going to take one of these pieces here, just put another hole in it. And now I'm going to want this end pointed because I want as little as friction as possible on the top. So I'm going to make this pointed. Okay, that will go in there. I'm going to put something in there to help reduce the friction. Maybe some green leaves. Get those all mashed up in there. Okay, now we need to make that bow. I've just got some shoestring here, and with that notch, I can put this loop in the shoestring around that end. Just wrap it around here a few times. And go here and just keep wrapping. There. We're going to put the stick in. That's a little bit too tight, but we'll make it work. Okay, now we're just going to get this started. It's going to work. All right, so we're going to put our foot as close as we can to that. And this string is a little bit too tight, but put our hole in there. I'm going to brace this real good up against our body. Now if you have a straight stick, a straight spindle, it makes it a lot easier. Straight and smooth. Now we'll do this until we see some smoke. Yeah, we're seeing some smoke now. Alright, now we can see what the hole is going to be like. So now we need to notch this so that when we do this again, it allows those embers to collect and not build up around the edge and go out. So I'll just use my Laplander. Now, as you can see, we cut a little bit into that burn area, and you can see the shape of it. That's so as the embers start to form, the ember dust travels outside of this area and down to a catch board. So we'll just use a piece of this bark to catch the embers. It'll work. That'll work fine. There's our top. Put another leaf in there. Now we need to build a bird's nest so that once we have this ember, we can put that ember into the bird's nest and get our fire going. There, I've got the bird's nest big enough now. Now you don't want one too small when you're working with an ember. You can actually drop the ember in there, blow on it, and it'll come right out the other side if it's too small or too thin. And you don't want to waste all that effort you made to get that ember going to waste. Alright, so we've got our board, our ember plate, ember catcher. Got our top piece. Got our bow. See, that shoestring is getting torn up pretty quick, so I better make this count. I'm going to hold my bow this way. So, put my foot right up to it, brace it, grasp the top securely. My bird's nest is ready. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm not going to go very fast. First I want to build up the heat. See a little bit of smoke. I'm starting to see smoke. Just let it keep building up heat. Okay, so as I start to see more smoke, I'll increase my speed. Try to create some embers. Now that's producing embers, but I want to keep going because some of it's going to go out right away. Okay. There's our ember. Just want to let it do its thing and maybe get a little bit bigger. You see the red on there? I want to be very careful with that. Okay, it's big enough now. Drop it in this bird's nest. Drop it in there. Kind of turn it into a taco. Just blow on it gently. Whew, finally. So, there we go. Fire started. Now, see what that looks like? That friction created those embers and they fell through that notch. And look at the top. That started getting hot too. It got black, a little bit of smoke from the top. And there's our spindle. See, the top got black and charred as well, even with leaves in there. And there's the bottom. You can see it's a little burnt where embers started. Of course, you can read survival guides or watch YouTube videos all day on how to do this. And it might give you some knowledge, but it's the experience that's going to allow you to do this. So just get out there and practice. You'll fail a couple times, and once you learn some of the principles and techniques through experience, you'll be able to do it regardless of the conditions. Well, thanks for watching Survival Theory. Please share, like, subscribe. See you next time. Don't try to chop that baton. That's the word I was looking for. Baton. So, hope you learned something, or maybe you didn't. Thanks for watching.